So it appears that this is the time of year in which Enlisted has to do a next update, or they have essentially given us the clues for the next update. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the next update, the new weapons coming in the update, and this is actually pretty cool. So without further ado, let's just get started. Starting with the first thing, and that is the premium squads. This has been leaked previously, and now, as of right now, it's been official. These are the commandos for both sides, and these are guerrilla squads for both sides. For the British, we have the M1 Thompson that is suppressed, and for the Germans, we have the STG-44 suppressed. Now, the M1 Thompson is at tier 4, which is kind of interesting if you ask me. The STG-44 is at tier 5, which does make sense. I highly suggest that if you want to get one squad, just get the STG-44 silent, because that thing is very good. Whereas the M1 Thompson is a little bit lacking, concerning that the M1 Thompson should be at BR3, so that's that. And of course, if you want to get the portrait, you can get the portrait, but this comes with the bundle, and the bundle costs around $50 plus, so that's great. Moving on to the weapons and vehicles for the next Force Shadow update. Now, the Silent Storm bundle is called the Silent Storm, which I forgot to say that the Silent Storm was the Silent Storm, and the next update is officially called Force Shadow. In my last video, I said the next update is called Silent Storm, which does not make sense, so that's my bad. The Force Shadow update contains a few things. For starters, the USSR gets the PPSH-41S. This is essentially a PPSH-41 with a suppressor, which is kind of insane if you ask me. The PPSH in the game is already pretty good, but you add a suppressor, and I do think this is a tech tree version, so you can actually get this for free without buying anything, which is actually pretty good because this has a suppressor. Once again, suppressors allow enemies, AIs to be exact, not able to find you that quickly. And moving on, we have the Germans. This is the Jagdpanther G1. This is for BR5, and this should come as no surprise because this was leaked previously. This is the free-to-play version of the Jagdpanther, and this is not the pay-to-win Jagdpanther, so that's great. In terms of the next weapon, we have the Americans with the M36. This is an American tank destroyer with a pretty good 90mm cannon. It has a penetration of 150 plus, according to Enlisted, and overall it's pretty good. The only thing I do have to say is that this thing is open-topped, so if an enemy plane decides to kill you, you are pretty much dead. So that's great. For the Japanese, we have a knockoff M2 carbine. Yes, you heard that correct. We have a sawed-off M2 carbine, which, if you ask me, really doesn't make sense because the Japanese could get a lot of different weapons if you ask me, especially SMGs, but the Americans have decided to give the Japanese the M2 carbine, or to be exact, Enlisted has decided to give the Japanese the M2 carbine. The sights apparently looks very, very different according to Enlisted, and I do think these sights are slightly better than the sights we have for the regular M2 carbine, because according to Enlisted, why use this weapon when you can just spray and pray? So that's great. For the Japanese, we are also getting 2 more planes, which is something that is pretty interesting because I've always argued for more planes for Japan. For the Japanese, we are getting the Ki 100. This is a BR3 plane, and this is essentially a Type 5 fighter with 2 250kg bombs, 2 20mm and 2 12.7. So this thing is really good at BR3. For BR5, we have the N1K2 Sidankai. This is essentially a plane with 4 20mm, 2 rockets, and this is essentially an air superiority fighter, which is pretty good. But once again, the jets are in game, so I don't really understand why Enlisted would add another propeller plane for BR5. Now for BR3, that's a different story, which I do suggest that Enlisted adds. But what we do lack as of right now in the game is that we have heavier planes for Japan, for example 2-seaters or whatnot. But it appears that Enlisted is fine with giving the Japanese 250kg bombs for fighters, which actually is not a bad idea. Now let's move on to what I think about this entire thing. For starters, the latest event premium squads are going to be guerrillas, which is pretty good. These, once again, are going to be very, very good, especially the STG-44, because the STG-44 in game is already really good, and you want to put a suppressor on the STG-44 so that AIs can't kill you as fast. Well, that's just going to make it better. And not to mention, the camouflage is pretty good, so that's pretty cool. And of course, we have the latest weapons. The tech tree PPSH-41, if it is a tech tree, should be a very good weapon. The Germans with the Jagdpanther is also going to be very good, and the United States with the M36 GMC is going to be very good. But once again, I do have to ask the question of, should the M36 be in game along with the Pershing? Because if you have the Pershing, why do you want to get this? Because once again, the Pershing is so much better, and the Super Pershing is much, much better than this thing, because once again, this is open top. It is a tank destroyer, but it's also an open top tank destroyer, so that's a problem. And of course, the M2 sawed off is just a knockoff. I don't literally think that Japan should get this, but once again, If Enlisted is destined to give Japanese, American slash German stuff, then what can we do to stop them? I don't think it should be added, but once again, if Enlisted is going to add this, at least this is a fun addition, because it is a knocked off version, so quite literally. And of course, we have the 2 latest planes, which are pretty unique if you ask me. I do think Japan needs more planes, and I don't think a Japanese plane should be added at BR5. If you want to add the plane, this plane isn't that good, so I highly suggest that you knock it back to BR4 or 3, because 2 rockets isn't that good. The 420mm isn't that good, because literally the Spitfire is at tier 2, and that has 420mm, so what are we talking about? So I highly suggest that you move this thing back to tier 3. So that's that. And without further ado, this is all for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. Comment in the comment section down below of what do you think about these new weapons slash vehicles slash premium squads. And have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the next one.